Oh, Jesus Christ. Please. Please, dear God, let me sleep. Just for 5 minutes. Oh, God. The light. What the hell is this? Loony Poony? Yes, that's right. Welcome back to another episode of Loony Poony with Ayden and Jacob.
It's good to be back, Ayden. How's your week been?
It's been a great week. We're here back on Sin Nation.
Oh, it's good to be back. I enjoy it back in here.
Yeah, it's always great. We've got a great topic and great show lined up. It's all about dating etiquette.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know how to treat people before today.
Well, we're about to tell you. We're going to have you all informed.
The news.
The news, and great news it is. In fact, I think it's quite a joyous story for all members considered. Macrophiles, that being, well, in this case, men who, let's say, enjoy particularly large women, have finally found a way to fulfill their fantasies.
Well, when you say large women, you don't mean particularly tall individuals.
Well, not necessarily just the taller or more muscular women of the world that you might see. I'm talking about literal giants, like we're talking Godzilla, King Kong proportions. And thanks to the magic of the internet, computers, and virtual reality, they're finally developing ways for these men, well, probably women too, to go out and, well, or more stay in and find what they're looking for. There's actually a lot of forums out there for people to discuss these sorts of fantasies. I found one that was called Giantess World. And they
Giant Test World?
No, Giant S.
Oh, Giant S.
As in female
right.
giant world. Where there are many, let's say, stories bordering on erotica.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great place.
I wanna know at what moment someone realized I really love the idea of doing it with a more human King Kong.
Yeah. Well, it's theorized that it plays on an extreme version of dominance and submission, where the fantasizer plays the submissive role.
You could want to be a sexual Wes Wally as well.
Well, there's that, but some of the quotes I found online were, "As a superior being, she would have little regard for me, other than supplying her own needs. Whether it be as food to nourish her superior body..."
I did not see that coming.
No, or as a sexual play toy to be used and broken after, I would have no other choice but to submit myself to her.
Fee fo fo fum. I want to stick it in your bum.
Yeah, I doubt she'd feel it.
Oh, well, I mean,
like, if she's in proportion, I don't think she's going to,
That's the thing, yeah. Like, you would kind of... If I was the giant and someone who was tiny said, "Hey, let's get funky," I'd be like, well...
well, think about the
can
actual
I
dynamics of it. It's like, this is like the average woman that we know walking around and being seduced by an ant. That's the equivalent here. And it's like, you're not going to do all that much there.
You can try.
Oh, good for you. I really hope you're on top, dude, because... Oh, no.
Well, I mean, in really any circumstance, that kind of is gonna go weird. If you have like a sexy bath together, she'll be sitting there nice and you'll be on a little raft.
And any move she makes is just gonna be like a maelstrom.
Just a tidal wave. Jeez.
There's a clinical psychologist in St. Louis, Dr. Helen Friedman, she was talking about macrophilia, about it being, it's like playing. playing out some like really unresolved psychological issues, probably derived from whether you had like a dominant or abusive or sadistic mother. Like that's where it's thought to be derived from.
I mean, she could be right. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know
it's-
things.
It's the most logical and only theory that I could be bothered looking up.
Yeah, I don't think there would be many explanations on that. I mean, considering this is the first time I've ever heard of it.
Well,
certainly.
this came out in the news like literally yesterday, like about how there are currently lots of guys using computer software like Photoshop or some sort of video editing software to put themselves in situations with these women.
Jeez. Well, yeah. I mean, it's the only real way, really. And with
Until genetic engineering really starts taking off.
well, it really takes off. We are now going to move into our topic for the week. The next
is
2
that?
weeks, actually.
Yeah, and what would that be, Ayden?
Jacob, it would be dating and sex etiquette.
I think it's a good topic.
It's a great topic, and there's comedy there. It is a
that's-
goldmine.
We hope.
Well, yeah,
We think it's funny.
we laugh.
All right, so what would you say rule 1 is of dating etiquette?
Rule 1 has got to be, if they're available, the person you're going after.
Yeah, that's... Okay, so do you mean just single or...
I mean, they can be single or in an open
Yeah,
relationship.
so polyamory, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
As long as it's not going to piss somebody off.
And-
Well, someone that isn't an ex.
Yeah, or who is just begrudgingly obsessed with the other person,
I actually...
or their parents, or
Speaking
siblings.
of which, I have a really good story. Earlier this year, my band was playing a gig in Bendigo. I'm from Bendigo. My whole family turned up. It was great. Anyway, Mum was playing pool with my brother-in-law, and this woman comes up and sort of has a bit of a look at my mother, and she
that
Yeah.
was a sharp left turn.
yeah. She then goes over to the bar to where the only person sitting there happened to be my father. She then asks him, "Do you know if the curly-haired one over there is single?" To which he responded, "Yeah, we've been married for 26 years."
Oh.
She then says, "Well done," and walks away.
Alright, props to her for leaving that conversation.
Yeah.
Leaving it well.
I
that could have been
think
very
she
awkward.
handled herself quite well. But props to Mum.
That is so unfortunate.
She's still got it. She's still got it.
You go, Mum. Yeah.
So rule 2. Make sure that don't try too hard. Don't come across as being overly eager or desperate.
Yeah, and in that same note, with the whole the classic line, "Be yourself." Everybody else is taken. Oscar Wilde quote, great quote.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a story that leads into that.
Oh, really?
A news story. I don't remember when it was from. I don't remember where or any details of that kind. But I do remember it was a guy who got stuck between 2 buildings on a date, 8 stories up, and the fire brigade had to cut 2 holes in each building in the walls to get him out.
How did he get into that position?
They asked him afterwards. It took 8 hours to get him out. It took a ridiculous amount of time.
Yeah.
And he said to the fire brigade, "I was trying to impress her by jumping the buildings."
Did it work?
They asked her, "I'm not going." She's like, "I don't think there's anything here. I ain't coming back." It was,
Well, I guess it just goes to show you should, think before you leap.
Ba-dum. That I just like to picture in my head that there was a situation they'd just seen a movie or been on a really romantic date, and they were looking at the stars, and he turned to the west and went,
I can
"Babe,
jump that far.
hold my beer. I'm gonna do something crazy right now." Steve, Steve, don't jump. Steve, don't. Oh no.
Hey, you've ever had a runner on a date? Have they ever done it like this? Hey!
It would have been funny if when they asked her, she just went, I do not know this man. I'm actually surprised she's stuck around. Like, tops to her for sticking around.
Oh, she had to hold his beer. That's a sacred bond.
He's like, you spill that, I'm going to tell everyone you're a whore. Like, oh.
Alright, so rule 3. What would you say rule 3 is?
Well, I mean, we're not making this up on the spot. These are well researched. We've had a team on these, rules for weeks, Jacob. We're totally not flinging these off cuff right now. Disclaimers note, these rules don't amount to anything.
Except, they're good to follow.
Well,
we don't, but...
I actually came up with a rule about a few years ago through high school. I came up with a rule myself. For some reason, I believed that girls liked it, or a girl would like you back if you stuck around her for ages. I learned that was not the case very quickly.
Dude, have you seen Big Bang Theory? 100% of the time.
Yeah, that's a good example.
Yeah.
Although that...
I always try to live my life by sitcoms.
I always go by rom-coms.
Yeah, no, so you go with sitcoms. I live with a bass player who just slaps, like, every time we go into a new play, he's just like, bow, ba-doom, doom, doom, bow, doom. It's the way to be. Trust me. Everyone, forget everything else you've learned in life. Live your life as a sitcom.
You know what? Make this your number one dating etiquette rule. Always have a bass player who is carrying an amp and can play only that tune.
Well, no, or... if, like, things turn out well, it's like... See? Get her in the mood. And people say I don't know what I'm talking about.
And people say I'm slow. Going into a cafe or a crowded area with that, trying to get her in the mood, she's just sitting there, please. You seem nice on Tinder. I can't believe my mum set me up with this guy.
On Tinder.
On Tinder.
Actually, that I did actually see. There was a guy who got his mum to use his Twitter account for him so that he would meet a nice girl. Yeah, and there's rule 3: don't get your parents to use your Twitter account.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? My mum runs my Tinder.
How's that going for you? This is the single guy in the room, people.
Woo! Alright, with my singleness and my controlled Tinder account, which is, I just want to say that's not true. Well,
I think it is.
That's something someone would say if it was true. I just ratted myself out. Alright.
It's true.
Sex fact!
Before evolving into Neanderthals and Homo sapiens, human ancestors used to have penises with spines. Yeah. Getting a boner means a whole new thing now to you, doesn't it?
So you're saying... Are you calling me spineless? You son of a bitch. Alright.
There are still animals that have them. It's supposed to be correlated to how slutty you are as a species, because having the spine quickens the pace of an erection.
Yeah, I was going to say that would make that a lot faster.
You know what counts as a slutty species according to this?
What?
Cats. That's right, everybody. You got a male cat, he's got bones in his willy.
I've got 2 cats, and...
Yep. Let's move on.
I gotta ask, though, how did they find that out?
Skeletons, I would assume.
What? Well, I mean, yeah, but...
fossils.
True.
Digging around for old men's bones.
As they pulled back the fossil, a guy in, like, khakis just looked at it and went, that's a penis.
Either that or they all had third legs that just didn't do anything.
Or very, very, very small slugs that had spines. All right.
and lived there. Anyway,
Let's go on to our discussion topic.
yes. So sex etiquette.
Yes. After dating.
After dating.
What must always come next, obviously, because it's not like, people don't.
Well, I
do
don't
it.
think it's something that you should never expect
No.
unless it's planned beforehand.
Yeah. Unless that is like strictly.
Why you are meeting them.
Or you've spoken about it and you're both like, yeah. If you haven't and there has been no indication and you're still expecting it, then probably don't. You're just gonna. It's like finding out Santa Claus doesn't exist. It's just gonna break your heart, and your parents
Wait, what?
are gonna be disappointed in you. I don't know where that came from.
I think another important thing is that it should be about equal participation.
Yeah, there's that college humor R&B sexual awareness song where a line in it is, "Sex is a conversation." And it's I mean, it's kind of true from what people have told me.
We were actually talking about this on Naughty Rude a couple of months back, and this is the greatest thing I think I've ever said on radio, is that you can't just put in, you got to put in.
Well,
Takes effort from both sides, people.
You got to put out,
You gotta
put in.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got there's a lot of pudding involved. A lot of pudding.
There's so much pudding.
And pudding, if you're into that.
Hey, apparently
You
there's a market for it.
It can work. Pudding is great. I would say no.
I mean,
I wouldn't say no.
But I could.
That could be an answer to almost any question. I haven't, but I could. Have you tried to jump between two buildings and gotten stuck for 8 hours? Well, a good rule for sex etiquette is you obviously need to have trust there. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
If you don't trust the person, chances are it's not going to be A, memorable, and B, probably not something that's going to particularly go in a great way. It could only kind of, you need the trust. If you don't trust the person, it's only going to go bad. And I mean on the level of, I have to trust this person that they're not going to, kill me
and
or do something weird.
that comes into, if you're going to do something that you you probably enjoy it, how you do it if you didn't enjoy it, but you think that the other person might not be either aware of or totally into, discuss it beforehand, because there's nothing worse than going to the bedroom and being like, surprise, pineapples!
I was expecting that to go to, a finger in weird places area. No, not pineapples. Although, I mean...
That's why we have to discuss it beforehand, Ayden. We don't know what to expect in the bedroom. It could go to some strange places.
Oh, they pull out a picnic blanket and a knife and fork? Okay, I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
I'm not ready for this. We just met.
It's either that or, oh my god, you too? I suppose...
If that ever happens, keep them.
If that ever happens, please write into us. Because, I mean, that is quite a unique situation.
And if you've just pulled that out of your ass and you've just nailed, the perfect relationship.
It was love at first sight, what can I say? We fit together perfectly. Badoom.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. I've been in... See, I've had situations... Well, I've heard of situations, not even particularly me, just people whom I've had conversations with, where it's been... I did not know this was about to happen. It's going to make a great story and I'm going to laugh about it, but the first thing I'm going to do is leave very, very, very quickly. Because,
I think another important thing is to make sure you have enough space. Because a friend of mine,
Is this going to cars?
No, could be anywhere. He was in a bed, and I don't know why, but he tells a story about his hand just flying out. He hit a wall and broke his finger. And so make sure if
That's
you're going to
bad.
be flailing your arms about, or whatever.
Just don't break a finger.
Don't break a finger. Test your space first. Like, have you got room for your arm's reach?
On top of that, be conscious of if there are other people in the house, because there is nothing worse than hearing people who you'd never ever want to imagine in a situation where they'd be doing really weird things, and then you hear really weird things, and you're sitting there with friends or a girlfriend or a sibling or a grandmother, and
or
you're
whoever's
all
on the
scared.
other end of the fucking cam session, and it's like...
we are trying to make quality production here.
I don't know if that's you talking to the person on the cam session or that's what you hear from the bedroom.
Both, really.
At the same time, just join sessions. Don't ever do that. I didn't mean that at all.
Art reflects life. With art reflecting life, let us go. Well, next, stay tuned, because we're doing another reading of erotica with Jacob and Ayden. We now are going to get you in the mood with our erotica. The petals fall twice.
She slowly licked and tickled his peenie, and because she was so smart, combined the words in her head like an expression explorer of old.
Slickled,
She thought.
I'm slickling his penny.
No matter how brilliant her wordplay, the result was the same. Gary's peenie was now erect. It felt like a quality bar of peenie-scented soap in her hands. Without warning, she gave it a swift headbutt, because men liked that. All men liked that.
Whoa, Melinda, that's the good stuff. That's the stuff that makes me forget about my problems.
Melissa derived satisfaction from this comment, despite the mangled pronunciation of her name. She could feel her horny levels rising to 30%, and her hoo-ha was getting right.
You've got this.
Her hoo-ha was getting right slimy from the anticipation of participation.
Gary, me needs sex now inside, please. Damn,
Melissa thought.
I wish there was a better way to say that.
Gary was only two...
Gary was only too eager to comply. He wrenched his peenie away from Melissa's grubby paws and thrust inside her hoo-ha with a thunderous orgasm.
She was pregnant, but that could be dealt with in the morning, provided she was still alive.
Outstanding stuff, Melanie.
Gary chortled.
I know I could just go to sleep now, but I would like to continue satisfying your sounds peenie.
Gary nudged downward, and his peenie was nowhere to be seen.
What in have you mind?
Just sit back and relax, kitty cat. Melissa did just that, falling back onto the bed and stretching her perfect 7 body, eager for Gary's attention. He started working his magic immediately, and she felt the all too familiar heat rising from her breast. Gary was crouched over top and pooping all over her unbelievably average body.
Gary, so stinky.
That's just the poop, baby. Let it just work its magic.
I can't see anything.
That's because you're blind now, Mildred. and that was The Petals Fall Twice by Chip Danksky.
And just another just great piece of literary artwork coming out of... Oh, God.
Editor's note, that is page 143 of The Petals fall twice.
Oh, I almost need to buy it because I just can't breathe.
I
from
want to
that.
know where Gary takes his penny and what happened to Mildred or Melanie,
Well, let's see.
whatever her name is.
Is it about Melissa or is it about Gary? I don't know. Do they have many of these encounters?
He just- and right after he's crouching and he's forcing it out, the kids walk in. Just. Oh, that is one conversation
Just
you don't
getting a
want to have.
nice long look at that perfect 7 body.
You can't spell sodomy without oh my. I'm gonna get that on a t-shirt actually. Anyone feel free to get t-shirts printed and just but like don't send it to Sin because we'll probably get into trouble for that joke.
we won't be on the show anymore.
Dishonorable discharge from a radio station.
Oh, God.
Oh,
You had to say discharge after we were just reading erotica.
that's a great way to describe bad sex. It was a dishonorable discharge. Oh, God. Oh.
You know the most depressing thing?
Gotta take a breather.
This guy got a book contract.
He got some publishing house somewhere went, this. I don't even care what it takes. He's a damn good writer. He's the best we got, damn it.
50 Shades of Grey. Just look out, this is coming up to your royalty. That's what that's doing.
I would. Oh, I gotta check
Just
out
wait
the
for-
Amazon reviews.
Just wait for the movie to be made. I hear Tommy Wiseau's directing.
and starring and writing and producing and inspired by. There's actually. I want to check out the Amazon reviews because there's someone somewhere who's written my marriage. We were married for 40 years. And I didn't know if I loved her anymore. It was falling apart. But this book salvaged the morsels of my marriage, and we are happier than ever. Thank you, Chip. You've saved us.
So that was The Petals Fall Twice.
I want to know what petals, how they fell twice. There is just...
There's actually quite a discussion to have here. Is he talking about deflowering? Twice?
The thing I love is not just how it's written with, I guess, the euphemisms for genitals, but the dialogue of, what have you in mind, E? And
Gary, me need sex now inside, please.
I mean...
Damn, I wish there was a better way to say that. There are so many better ways to say that!
Melissa, get your shit in the game. There are so many better ways.
To be fair, though, if a dude couldn't remember my name... Or woman, 'cause that's normally how it is. But if they couldn't remember my name, I'd probably just not even bother with sensical sentences anyway.
I mean, that's me on a daily basis. I come out of my room, Mum, food now, where, please? I like to repeat quotes. I like to say things like, as my grandpappy used to say, many light hands work. We're continuing the convo here.
I'm still getting over our reading just then.
Well, that excerpt is an example of A, 50 Shades of Grey when the guy's poor, and B, that's sex etiquette, but not necessarily bad etiquette.
No, well, there didn't seem to be any complaints, even with, one thrust Larry there.
Well, not just that, one thrust and poop.
Yeah, well, it was the all too familiar sense, so I think she was okay with it.
He pooped on her, she headbutt his dick. Everyone took part,
Well,
really.
all men like that, don't you know?
I've been doing the wrong thing then. There's just so much in that we could pick apart. We could dedicate an entire show to this one excerpt.
Yeah, let's not though.
We'd need about 50
It's a little bit too
content
exciting for
warnings.
me. It's like, ooh.
It might get my hoo-ha to 30%. I think
important to realize is that everything there was consensual.
Yeah, and it was...
I think.
They... Well, I don't know if her being happy with being blind was part of the contract.
Hey, she never complained about it.
Well, no, and I mean, Mildred seemed... I guess the communication levels, he didn't really know what her name was. He was just guessing, really.
Yeah, so there's probably a bit of bad etiquette there. Just know who you're sleeping with.
Yes, don't... If you ask them... Do you like being headbutt, and are you gonna poop on me? And do you know my name?
Those are important starter questions when you first start out. It's like, it's not what do you do, what are your parents like, how many siblings do you have. It's like, are you gonna poop on me? Are you gonna headbutt me in the dick? Those are the two things you need to ask first.
Well, can I poop on you, and will you headbutt me in the dick?
Now remember, you got to poop on them. Shitting on something you do on a hooker. You poop on someone that you love.
My poop is only for you, baby. I was gonna say, no, never mind. It's completely gone. Oh yeah, what makes the sugar of this excerpt even sweeter is that all it is an excerpt, and I'm gonna link this on our Facebook and Twitter because it's just that great. What makes it sweeter is there is zero context. The context could be that this is one person in a psych ward who's taken the wrong medication.
Or the right medication.
Etiquette. You never know. Although if you do bring medication into the context of this, it could go to an even worse place.
Yeah, let's not think about that. I don't think that's a good thing.
Let's steer clear of that. But I'm definitely linking this. It is almost... It's almost worthy of being
Look, for anyone
included.
who enjoys really, really, really poor writing in an ironic sense, or in just a genuine sense, this is for you.
And really wonderful euphemisms.
Oh, so good.
Really?
My favourite part is that old Chip here has given us a whole lot of different, euphemisms and metaphors, but he sticks to peenie.
And hoo-ha.
Peenie and hoo-ha. Which, I don't know. After contemplating the passage, I've come to the conclusion that I don't think Chip's ever had sex.
Well, I think he's just had really, really not vanilla sex. And on top of that, I actually believe, because of the euphemisms and the ways of saying horny levels rising to 30%, and then his weenie was gone from sight, I actually think this is the sexual equivalent of everybody poops for children. And that is what the publishing house, who, God bless you for picking up this this nugget of gold, is aiming for. And it is wonderful.
Or they're bankrupt.
Hopefully,
Possibly both.
Now that hopefully we can get the word out about this and sales could skyrocket.
Bring it back.
Chip will come out of the woodwork and be like, guys, why did you... This is not what this was for. It's like, I wrote this from my brother-in-law, my brother who was getting married as a joke. Guys, please.
Oh, I hope it was a joke.
I actually hope it was serious, and he does live readings at libraries, and a bunch of old ladies come, and even kids from the local town, and everybody comes around, and he signs, and they read back to him their favourite excerpts, and they ask him questions
They
about
have
the
a big old
characters.
Q&A session about the real inner workings of Melissa and Gary.
I want to know what makes them tick.
Oh, we know what makes them tick. Poop and headbutts.
He goes the 50 Shades route and writes another book from the perspective of Melissa being pooped on. And she's just thinking, hey...
It's not as bad as I thought. I could get used to this.
Yeah, yesterday, I won a Pulitzer Prize in quantum physics. Today, getting pooped on by Gary.
Again.
Gary... You'll always be my college professor. And he's just like, yeah, sure, Mildred. He's like, I like a guy who doesn't know my name. That's cool. The thing that really strikes my fancy is that their names aren't anything special. Like, in other places, we've got Christian Grey and Anastasia Steele, and I want to use other examples. We've got, I don't know, I'm reading The Dark Tower. It's got Roland of Gilead as the lead role. Like, they've got cool names, and this is Gary and Melissa.
So what you're saying is, like, this is essentially the Harry Potter of erotica.
Oh, no, Jacob.
Not
please.
Harry Potter erotica. Probably exists. I
This
don't doubt
is
that.
the Dante's Inferno of erotica. This is literary history. This is Romeo and Juliet. Even though this is more of this is more of a romance than that was. That was sad.
Hey, we don't know. This could
is true
definitely
love.
be a tragedy. We need to read some more of this book. That's what I think.
Years later, Gary, you're not the man I fell in love with. Why don't you poop on me anymore?
No! How dare you?
You've been pooping on the girl next door, haven't you, Gary?
I think that's a good place to wrap up for the week, Ayden.
Oh, it is a terrific place. Please, if you have enjoyed today's sensual readings and excellent journalism, please navigate your way to our Facebook page and Twitter at Loony Poony Sin. And we're going to continue this topic for next week, dating and sex etiquette. So if you've got any stories or anything funny or any
If you've
weird
got,
erotica,
if you've got any tips, that'd also be good,
Yeah.
because Ayden is really getting lonely.
just about to say I really need some of those. Well, it'll be great.
Yeah.
We can continue this. It's going to be wonderful.
So thanks for tuning in, guys.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. We're Loony Poony on Sin Nation. Thank you so much.